Welcome to the legendary Wildcard Boxing Gym here in Los Angeles. We are here for the Manny Pacquiao workout ahead of his August 21st pay-per-view showdown against Errol Spence Jr. from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Limited tickets are available. It will be a sellout. Get them, AXS.com, or watch on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. The event brought to you by MP Promotions, Man Down Promotions, and TGB Promotions, presented by Premier Boxing Champions. The man to my left, the Hall of Fame trainer who has been with Manny Pacquiao since he got here to the United States, the legendary Freddie Roach. Freddie, thank you so much for inviting us into your legendary and famed gym. Let's talk about August 21, the assignment for Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr. My question to you is, you guys could have fought anybody in the world, but why did you select Errol Spence Jr.?
Well, we thought that Errol Spence was one of the best fighters out there, and I've had long talks with Manny along the years, and we always said that he wants to be in the game and be the best at what he does. And the thing is, there's no sense in just getting some stiff out there, or some fighter that nobody knows about, and maybe he's just popular or something like this for some reason or another. But this is a real fighter, and I congratulate Manny when he picked to fight this fighter, and I says that's a great choice, and we're going to stay on top of this way. And Manny's trained really hard for the fight so far, and we got 3 more weeks to go, and he's in great shape. He's ready to go.
Now, there are 2 schools of thought when it comes to ring rust, because Manny has been away from the ring since July of 2019 when he defeated Keith Thurman, handing him the first professional defeat of his career. Some think that ring rust is a bad thing. Other times, especially as you get older, that it might benefit him in terms of allowing his body to heal. Where do you fall in terms of that school of thought?
Well, it's kind of a shady area a little bit. It could be good, it could be bad. But the thing about it is that Manny works out all the time. He sends me tapes on his workouts. He sends me everything there is to know about what he's up to. And I kind of adjust what he does and work on this a little bit more and work on that a little bit more. And so we communicate back and forth. Very poorly, though, by phone or by computer. But the thing is, we're not like the type of people that just talk on the phone about what's happening in the world or anything like that. But he does send me tapes, and then I watch them and I criticize what he does good and what he does bad, and it works out very well. So then when he showed up here, he's like, I just talked to him yesterday, and the thing is, he's back in training camp. We got 3 weeks to go, and he had probably his best sparring session yesterday. It was 10 rounds, 2 knockdowns. It was the old Manny Pacquiao.
So the Manny Pacquiao of 10 years ago.
Yes, of 10 years ago, where he used to do that in the smaller weight divisions. And then fighting at this weight division, though, at 147, we haven't really knocked anyone out yet. And he's not as big a puncher at this weight class than he was at the smaller ones. But he's really on fire for this one. And the 2 knockdowns yesterday were a big positive for him. And fortunately, those 2 fighters were both 47-pounders.
Sounds like he has a lot of good momentum in the final week plus of training camp, final couple weeks.
Yeah, we really, I needed it because I was a little bit worried because a little bit sluggish here, a little bit sluggish there. And, traveling over, they come from the Philippines, they went to Japan, had an emergency stop there, had to fly back to the Philippines to get another plane, and then back out here.
So when exactly did he get here to start training camp with you here at Wildcard?
About 10 days ago.
Okay, about 10 days ago. So it'll be about a 4-week training camp here at Wildcard for the fight with Errol Spence, and then he was also training in the Philippines.
Yes, and the work here, though, is just sparring partners right away, and I have 3 really good sparring partners, all contenders. And
Can you give us their names?
Maybe future fights. Roach is one of the guys, and I got a kid that's 18-0 from Chicago, and I forget his name.
Okay.
And so he's doing really well. He knows that he's going to outbox this guy, and because his opponent's a little bit heavy on his feet, and he's not a real good boxer, but he's a very, very good puncher. So if we get in the pocket with him, we can land a quick combination, but then we need to get out of that pocket quickly because he will hit us back.
So you can't stay around for too long and admire your work, is what you're saying, that you don't want Manny to do on August 21st on pay-per-view.
Exactly, yes. In and out, combinations really quick, and then you're out right away. And then possibly, depending on what the opponent does, you might be back in again in a second. So it's a very tactical workout for Manny, but it's worked very good so far.
Freddie, why did you say that Errol Spence Jr. or that Keith Thurman was a tougher opponent than that of Errol Spence Jr.?
Just to play with him.
Oh, so it's just gamesmanship.
It's
just you being you.
They're both very good fighters. Let's face it. We know this, and I told Manny, I said, something that gave you a lot of momentum in that first fight was that you knocked him down early, and I said I'd like to see that in this fight also. I said, but you've got to use your speed, and I said, you're in the pocket, you're out of the pocket really quickly. And he understands completely what I want, and he showed me he can do that yesterday.
Do you think that win or lose, that we might be seeing Manny Pacquiao inside the boxing ring for the final time, or are there plans, no matter what happens, for him to have one more?
Well, we've thought about one more later on, but the thing is, this fight is a big fight, and it's a big name, and a win here would be great for us. But the thing is, I always tease Manny about being president. And, he never tells me that he's going to run for presidency, but I hear everywhere that maybe he is. And I said, hey, Manny, imagine if the president of your country defended his world title on TV. And he looks at me and smiles, and I think this could happen.
Well, Manny loves challenges.
He does. He loves challenges, and it's something he would do.
And from my understanding, wouldn't he have, if he is to run for the presidency of the Philippines, wouldn't he have to declare sometime in the fall?
Yes, and there's a little competition there and so forth, but I think Manny's the most well-liked person in the Philippines. And he does more for the people there than anywhere. He builds homes for thousands of people. He's very, very kind to everybody because he grew up poor and he knows what it's like, and he doesn't like people to suffer. And I get afraid of him and spending all his money on those people and not his family so much. But the thing is that it's just the way it is.
He started his political career as a congressman and now is a senator. Has he gotten better being able to balance his political endeavors and his priorities that he has to handle from a political standpoint, responsibilities over there for the Philippines, but also his responsibilities when it comes to preparing for a fight of this magnitude against Errol Spence Jr.?
It's been a little bit difficult because he has to stay up late on sessions in the Senate and so forth, and he comes to the gym sometimes a little bit tired, and I tell him, why don't you go home and sleep it off a little bit and then come back later. But he's consistently on time and ready to go at all times. And so I looked at him today. He's a little tired today. You'll see, and because he had to do a session last night, so he does have to do like 3 sessions a week here in America, and it's not killing me, but I don't like it.
So 2 southpaws from a stylistic standpoint. How much from a game plan standpoint, strategically, that you have on your plate to get ready for a fellow southpaw, someone who's big and strong, likes to attack the body, is methodical in the way that Errol Spence is?
Yes. The biggest thing about southpaws is that Manny Pacquiao from day one loves to fight southpaws because he is one and he understands how they work and how they set things up and so forth. Manny Pacquiao loves fighting southpaws, and that's the main reason I took this fight.
So looking at the event on August 21st, in a perfect world, how does the fight play out between Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view?
The thing is, I think Manny outboxes him, and that's the key factor in the fight. Manny's foot speed is unbelievable. It's much better than his opponent's. His opponent kind of plots around a little bit and follows you. He's heavy on his feet, and he seems like he's very set to the ground. And I think Manny's speed will overwhelm him in the in-and-out program we have going, and I'm really happy with the game plan so far.
My final question to you, do you think that we will ever see an 8-division world champion, something that Manny Pacquiao has accomplished over the course of his 20-year-plus career?
You know, people tell me, like, this guy might be the next Manny Pacquiao and so forth, and I hear that a lot and stuff. And I says, you know what? There's only one Manny Pacquiao, and then there'll be another one. I don't think that record will ever be broken.
Freddie, thank you so much. The best of luck. We look forward to seeing you in Fight Week in Las Vegas.
Thank you very much.
The legendary Freddie Roach joining us. The Manny Pacquiao workout continues here in Los Angeles. Thank you, Freddie. Always a pleasure talking with you. Love your knowledge. Thank you very much, Freddie. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, so you can go now, and you're gonna now, you're gonna now, interview, are you ready?
We're just gonna, if you take a step back.
Yep.
And put this?
Yeah, you can take that
You
off.
can take it off.
I got cleared. Negative.
Great.
Fernandez, right?
Yep.
All right, we are joined alongside by a man who's been by the side of Manny Pacquiao pretty much since the beginning of his professional career. Buboy Fernandez. Buboy, thank you so much for your time. How excited is Manny Pacquiao ahead of his matchup against Errol Spence Jr. on August 21st on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view?
First of all, I'm surprised that because since we lay up almost 2 years, and then one day Manny called me that you can go here in Manila because we're doing our practice. I said, what? So who's your opponent? He said, Errol Spence. Oh, excited fight, I said to them. So
You said what?
I said to them, it was very excited fight because Errol Spence is a good fighter and he go forward.
Did it take you by surprise? Because it took many of us by surprise.
I'm very surprised because we lay up for 2 years. So no, and then he told me that he gonna fight again against Errol Spence. So I said, okay, that's very excited fight.
So how has training camp been like? How does this Manny Pacquiao compare to the Manny Pacquiao even 2 years ago as he was preparing to fight Keith Thurman?
Of course, I admit that they have some little bit difference because, you know, man is 42 years old. But his move and his, what we call this, his punching and his mind is always in the boxing. So I always said that I show to the people that it's different Manny Pacquiao in August 21.
Freddie Roach just told us that he was very happy with what he saw out of Manny, especially yesterday, because he said it was the best sparring session that he's had since he's gotten here to Los Angeles when he arrived 10 days ago. You know, do you believe the same thing?
Yes, because before we arrived here in the United States to continue our training, we trained already in the Philippines. No, we're doing sparring already there, and then yesterday we were surprised that Manny can knock down his sparring partner. So
Guys who are at 147.
yeah, 147. So all of the team is very happy for the performance yesterday. So all the condition is there already. So we need to continue our training for Manny. So this coming August 21, I tell them 110% is a very different Manny Pacquiao.
In your mind, no matter what happens on August 21st, do you feel that this might be the final time we see Manny Pacquiao inside the boxing ring, or does he have one more left after the fight with Errol Spence?
Either me, I cannot see that. I cannot decide also because either we grew up together, we know each other, but he's the only one can tell that he wants to continue the legacy or this is the last one.
If you were a betting man, would you say that this is the final one or that he has one more to go?
For me, as his best friend and like a brother to him, for me, after this fight, one more fight for the what we call this farewell. So I wish that his farewell, and I put that in the Philippines. The people of the Philippines who watch the fight to him for free.
Yeah, so one fight in the Philippines is what you would like to see, one more farewell fight after the fight with Spence.
Yes, because we are not so longer young. So after this fight, one more fight, and then he decided in the next fight is for farewell or he wants to continue once more, and then the final for farewell in the Philippines. He's the only one can decide that one.
Well, speaking of the Philippines, there is a major presidential election happening next year, and there are overtures that Manny may run for president. Do you think that Manny Pacquiao will run for presidency of the Philippines?
Yeah. Before the news come out on all over the world, Manny he called me one day and he said, "Go here in Manila. We talk personally with your wife." And then I bring my wife, and then Jink is there, Manny, and me and my wife. And then I asked him, "What is the very important? You tell me." He said, "You need to prepare." I said, "For what?" "I need to run for presidential candidate." I said, "Oh, really? Are you sure for that?" He said, "Yeah. Almost done all the preparation." I said to him, "That's your decision. So I need to support you because we both together work in the government. He's the senator. Now I am the vice mayor of my municipality. So we both work together in the government. So whatsoever happen, I need to support my best friend for his presidential candidacy."
And what is it like juggling the responsibilities that you have in your political careers and looking out for your people in the Philippines, but also preparing for this mega fight on August 21st against Errol Spence on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view?
We know that together a long time ago before we Manny entered into politics, we studied that how to balance the time between the politician and as a fighter. So since Manny entered in the Congress, so we study already how to balance. Then Manny entered in the Senate, and we both as go to the politics. We know each other already, but on this time, if Manny's run as a president of the Republic of the Philippines, so you make it 110% to focus that one. That is I think that time is no more boxing.
It doesn't sound like you guys enjoy much downtime, huh?
Yeah, but I'm very happy also, and Manny, he's very happy also to help to the poor people. We never forgot where we are before. So we see. But the very important is August 21. But careful, he's only 43 years old, but he's very dangerous.
How do you see the fight transpiring and unraveling on August 21st against Errol Spence?
To him, with Manny?
Yes.
Oh, it's different. I know I have a big respect for Errol Spence. He's a good guy. He's a good fighter. He's a good record. He's also a world champion. So that's why I told to all the team, we don't underestimate Errol Spence. Because Errol Spence is a very good fighter, and very intelligent. So the very important is to Manny, we give him 110% the condition, because I expect this fight he got fight 2-2.
You think it's going to be a toe-to-toe fight?
Yeah, I think this is toe-to-toe fight.
Boo boy, you're getting me really excited for August 21st.
Yes, sir. So, watch who the beast man.
Boo Boy Fernandez joining us here at the famed Wildcard Boxing Gym here in Los Angeles as we continue with the Manny Pacquiao workout.
All right. Okay. You can go ahead and.
Justin, right?
Okay, Justin.
Nice to see you again.
All right. We are in training. Like 15 minutes. Yeah. But Justin's gonna.
I'm going to bring the life.
He's gonna bring the energy.
Yeah, it's the energy.
Beautiful.
What? Huh? But remember, I've been hitting the head a lot, so I forget a lot of things.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are now joined alongside by the strength and conditioning coach of the 8th Division World Champion Manny Pacquiao, Justin Fortune. Justin, thank you so much for taking time out, being here at Wildcard Boxing Gym. We are days away until Manny Pacquiao steps inside the ring against Errol Spence Jr. in only a few weeks' time. What is the feeling amongst camp in terms of how Manny's feeling as he heads into his pay-per-view showdown?
He's in good spirits. We're at 90%, 95%. He'll peak on time, on the day. And, it's a Pacquiao fight. They're always exciting. So, and this will be nothing different to everyone else. This fight, he's fighting for his legacy. And, he wins this fight, he picks up, another 3 titles. Goes down as the greatest fighter in history.
25-month layoff, and then the opponent is Errol Spence. When Manny told you, hey, my next opponent's Errol Spence, were you surprised or did it not surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me because Pacquiao chooses the best. He hasn't ducked anyone. Look at his record. So no, it doesn't surprise me at all. As far as that, Errol's not the same guy after the accident.
You don't think he's the same guy?
No, do you?
I mean, I thought he looked very good against Danny Garcia.
Danny Garcia I was disappointed in Garcia. I never pulled the trigger. Danny's a much, much better fighter than that. And even if it was 2 great fights, he came away with a fucking black eye in 12 rounds. This guy sends you to hospital. You don't go to post-fight press conferences. You're in hospital getting checked up. It's the difference, you know what I mean? So I don't see Errol as being that much of a puncher as everyone says.
So you don't seem to be too impressed with Spence, is what I'm.
No, I don't think he's the same guy after the accident. You know what I mean? Simple as that. And you don't walk away from that fucking accident with lifelong injuries. So.
And for Manny, as he gets up in age, you being a strength and conditioning coach, he's 42 years of age. He will be 43 later on in December of this year. What are some of the challenges that you have in terms of not pushing him too hard, when to push, when not to push, things along those lines?
I mean, we've been with Manny for 20 years, since 2002, so we know him. I know Manny very well. I know my fighters. And you look at him, you tell by their body language whether we rest or we don't rest. This is obviously with his age, it's more fight specific. It's not pushing him too hard. And someone like Pacquiao, and great fighters, Virgil Hill, Fennec, all those guys, you have to pull them back, and that's it. It's just fighting, or just being fight specific in your training.
Has the layoff helped Manny in terms of allowing his body to heal up over these past 25 months?
I don't know, man. I'm not Manny.
I mean, have you seen? But I'm saying, have you seen that? Like, what have you seen?
So, when he came back in, when we first sparring, he's shaking off some rust. But as of last week, the sparring picked up good. Timing came into play. Everything's sort of starting to come together again, which was to be expected for any fighter with that long a layoff. And, this pandemic's had a lot of fighters lay off for a long time. So we're all in the same boat, really.
Freddie told us that yesterday he had a sensational sparring day and probably his best day in camp that he has had since he got here to Los Angeles 10 days ago. Do you feel the same way?
It was a good sparring session, yeah, and he's back up on his toes and punching and moving. So when he does that, you can't be hit. You can't hit him. No offense to him, but better guys have tried and haven't been able to do it. So when he gets up on his toes and he starts moving and punching, he's tough. You've seen him. He's impossible to bloody hit. It was a good sparring day. He will get better, though. That was the start of it. That's where we start off now. Now you can see where he's going to peak, and we'll peak on the night of the fight.
Have you been doing anything different, or have you been doing pretty much the same thing with Manny and preparing him with his strength conditioning and his running and things along those lines?
No, just more explosion, more plyometrics, a lot of leg plies, just to get him up onto his toes again and start to move like that. That's all it is, just with that speed and explosion.
You've been around combat sports for several decades.
way too fucking long, mate.
So, have you ever seen, is it sort of like an anomaly when you see Manny do these things? Like, how is this guy even human?
In this sport, he's been number one or world champ for 20 years. So, yeah, it's phenomenal. He is just a freak. In our sport, he's our Jordan, and he's our sport's freak of nature. Simple as that.
Do you ever think, and I asked Freddie Roach this, do you ever believe that we will see an 8-division world champion?
Never. That's why he goes, you will never see someone like Pacquiao again. Not in my lifetime, certainly not. No, I don't believe we'll ever see it again. He was a one-off.
Not only that, but he means obviously a lot to the Philippines, not just from a prize fighting standpoint, from a politician standpoint. I asked Buboy, I asked Freddie, do you feel that Manny Pacquiao will run for presidency of the Philippines?
That's what he said he was going to do. So usually when he says it, he does it. It's a whole different ballgame. That's something that, that's a whole different job. Jesus Christ, think boxing's bad? Politics is worse.
And Justin, in a perfect world, how does the fight play out on August 21st against Errol Spence Jr. in Las Vegas on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view? In a perfect world, in Justin Fortune's perfect world, how does the fight with Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence play out?
Well, in a perfect world, we stop Errol, and that's the end of it. But boxing ain't perfect, and anything can happen. So no predictions. I predict we're going to win, but it all depends on the night and who shows up. That's all. I know Pacquiao will show up. We'll see what happens with Errol.
Justin, thank you so much. All the best of luck. Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, mate. No worries. Thank you.
Justin Fortune joining us as the Manny Pacquiao workout continues here at the famed Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles. We inch closer to Pacquiao Spence on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view.
What can you do? Can you talk like forever?
Yeah, I can talk.
Okay.
You want to tell? Let me just see what's going on with, do we have anyone else to grab?
I mean,
I can just get in front of the camera.
Well,
so
it would help you if I was here.
Well, let me talk about the undercard. Let's just start talking about the undercard. Can you tell them that let's talk about the undercard?
He wants to talk about the undercard.
Yeah.
Just take a step back. So she's going to count you.
Good.
say we'll have Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, I'm just going to break down the undercard.
Okay, all right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Once again, here at the Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles, I'm Ray Flores. Well, listen, we are awaiting Manny Pacquiao, the 8-division world champion. He's making his rounds with the media here at the Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles as we are a few weeks away until Manny Pacquiao takes on Errol Spence Jr. It is the fight of the summer on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. It will be a sellout crowd at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. If you are in the Las Vegas area or want to get there, get your tickets now, AXS.com. boxingbout.com, or you can purchase it and watch it live from the comfort of your home on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. Not only do we have Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. coming up on August 21, but the undercard was announced, as here is what we have on tap for that very evening. 4 fights scheduled for the pay-per-view portion, as we have a matchup featuring the Filipino sensation Mark Magsayo, who puts his undefeated record on the line. He will go head-to-head against the hard-hitting Mexican Julio Ceja. This one is a nostalgia fight. This is a throwback fight between two guys who've been around the block, and now they get the opportunity to collide live on pay-per-view. It'll be from Northern California, the Ghost Robert Guerrero, as he will go head-to-head against vicious Victor Ortiz. I absolutely love this fight. Why? Because I don't know what's going to happen. I expect both men to stand and trade, and it'll be very interesting to see who will be able to withstand each other's power. Both men have had moments of brilliance. Both men have had some serious. They've lost to Floyd Mayweather. So what's going to happen between Victor Ortiz and Robert Guerrero? All I know is that as they get up in age in their 30s, you anticipate that they're going to stand in the center of that ring and just throw bombs at each other and really go at it. A toe-to-toe affair is expected in that one. The co-main event will feature the Cuban sensation, the WBA welterweight champion. He holds a title from the WBA at 147, Yordenis Ugas, who will go head-to-head. He will put his title on the line against Fabian TNT Maidana. Now, you're probably thinking, Maidana, Argentina? Well, it's because he's the younger brother of Marcos Maidana, the former world champion, who incidentally fought Floyd Mayweather on 2 separate occasions, also defeated Adrian Broner back in December of 2013. And then in our main event of the evening, you will see Manny Pacquiao, the 8th division world champion, once again put his skills to the test against Errol Spence Jr. Pacquiao's been away from the ring for 25 months, and talking with Freddie Roach, Boo Boy Fernandez, Justin Fortune, they've all said that he isn't showing signs of ring rust. Errol Spence Jr., he's coming off of a win, a decisive victory over Danny Garcia last December at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where he really went out there and put on a clinical-like performance coming off of that horrific car accident that he had over a year and a half ago. This was in October of 2019. Spence defeated Sean Porter here in Los Angeles at Staples Center at the end of September of 2019. And then a few weeks later, he had that horrific car accident, came back to the ring after 14 months away from the sport, and defeated Danny Garcia in impressive fashion. And Errol Spence Jr., and look, they both have been on a collision course for well over 2 years, dating back since when Errol Spence defeated Mikey Garcia in March of 2019 at AT&T Stadium in front of nearly 50,000 fans. That was also on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. Leading into the fight with Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence said, "My dream fight is to fight Manny Pacquiao." And Pacquiao, so coincidentally and symbolically, got in the ring after Errol Spence Jr. defeated Mikey Garcia. Jerry Jones was in the ring. He was smiling from ear to ear. He loves it. And lo and behold, over 2.5 years later, the fight gets made. I'll be honest with you. When I saw the breaking news from Manny Pacquiao's social media, Pacquiao Spence, originally, I was like, is this real? Well, lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, it is real. And we are just over 2 weeks away from Manny Pacquiao taking on Errol Spence Jr. What a magnificent fight at 147, 2 of the world's best at 147. And now we are joined alongside by the 8th division world champion. Manny could stand right there. The 8th division world champion, the senator from Sarangani Province, Philippines. Obviously, as he collides against Errol Spence Jr. on August 21st on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao joining us here at the famed Wildcard Boxing Gym in Los Angeles. Manny, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, why Errol Spence Jr.?
I pick Errol Spence because I want to fight one of the best and to add in my legacy.
And You could have fought anybody, but is it because you wanted to test yourself against the world's best?
Yes, exactly. I can easily pick the easy opponent, easy to win, but I rather pick the one of the best so that I can prove that at the age of 42, Manny Pacquiao is not done yet.
You've been away from the ring. It will be 25 months since the last time you stepped inside the ring, a victory over Keith Thurman in July of 2019. How are you feeling? Are you concerned about ring rust, or has the time allowed your body to heal and get yourself ready for battle on August 21?
Well, I'm expecting a good fight, especially this Thurman is especially Errol Spence aggressive fighter. I know that we can create more action in the ring, and I can imagine now.
Where do you feel you have the advantages against Errol Spence? Not giving away your game plan, but where do you feel you're superior to Spence?
My advantage, I think, my speed and my power also, and strategy and experience. That's what I saw of my advantage.
You turned pro in 1995. Did you ever think that we are here in August of 2021 that you'd still be fighting?
I never imagined this one, and beyond of my imagination that I am still here, keep on fighting with the best, and this is a gift from God, and I'm so thankful to God of keeping me safe and giving me good health.
How have you been able, you started off your political career as a congressman, now you're a senator. We're hearing overtures that you may decide to run for the presidency. But how do you balance your political responsibilities and also your responsibilities to being a prize fighter, getting ready for Errol Spence on August 21?
Yes, that we can apply time management and discipline. That's the most important thing, management and time management.
So I'm hearing reports that if you were to run for the presidency of the Philippines, you have to declare sometime in the fall. You want to give us kind of an idea of where you're leaning towards?
Declare, yeah. I like I said, one at a time. After this fight, I can by September. That's the time that I will make decision if I'm going to run or not.
You're a proud family man. What does your family, your wife Jinky, what do they think about you fighting Errol Spence on August 21st?
It can be big legacy, another legacy to my career, and add my family is very supportive to me, and I think this is very important to me to win this fight, to bring honor to my country, and also to prove of my being 42 that I am still here.
So you sort of want to go and show that age is but a number.
Age is about a number. You're right.
And looking at, in a perfect world, for Manny Pacquiao, when you step inside the ring against Errol Spence, how do you see the fight playing out?
I always expect him to come in inside and more action. We create more action in the ring. I think I don't know if he's going to use his advantage as a height advantage and long reach arm. So it depends. But I'm ready for that.
We're hearing there is hints that maybe on August 21, is that the final time we're going to see Manny Pacquiao step inside the boxing ring, or do you want to have one more after the fight with Spence?
That's a very good question. I can say it could be, or there more. I mean, like I said over and over, that one at a time. After that fight, let's talk about the plan for next, if there's another.
Final two questions for you, Manny. Do training camps mean more to you now because you are in the later stages of your career? You and Freddie Roach have this father-son bond. It has been special to watch over the past 20-plus years. But when you know that it's one of the final training camps that you're going to have with Freddie and Boo Boy and your entire team, does it mean that much more to you?
Yeah, I'm happy doing this for the longest time with my same coaching staff, coaching people like Freddy and Boboy, and I'm sure they're happy of my performance, especially in training preparation for this fight. The team is happy. The fire in training is still there, like what we did in the past 15 years.
When you're being a trailblazer for the Philippines as well, we see Filipino Olympians that are getting silver medals. You have your own promotional company, MP Promotions. You know, Mark Magsayo. You know, we see Yumir Marshall out in the Olympics as well. A lot of young, hungry guys that we're seeing, and that you are really giving them the opportunity to display their talents.
Yes, I'm planning to help them because I know my career is not will not last long anymore because I'm 42. That's why I'm starting helping the young people who want to follow my steps.
And finally, what can fans expect on August 21st at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas? You against Errol Spence Jr., a big night of boxing for the welterweight championship of the world.
To all the fans, boxing fans, please come and watch this fight, once in a life fight. And it could be this is my last fight or there are more. Don't miss it. It's going to be a good fight, more action in the ring. And this fight is, I would like to dedicate this to the Filipino people for the honor of our country. Thank you.
Well, Manny, if this is the final time that we see you step inside those ropes, on behalf of all boxing fans, thank you for the memories. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for being so emblematic of what it means to being a world-class prize fighter. We thank you for what you did, and all the best of luck to you on August 21st.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And like I said, I want to encourage everyone, the fighters, to put boxing industry in a high esteem level that people will respect and the fans will respect about boxing. So we're the one who going to help it and promote it to the boxing fans that they will respect us.
The 8th Division World Champion, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. I call him the 8th wonder of the world, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be working out August 21st. Pacquiao Spence, Fox Sports, BBC pay-per-view. Do not miss it.